with our Its4Women.ie brand and Get Set Go, we have two products that we offer in the Irish market. We have our standard product, which you've alluded to there, which has a very, very low frequency of accidents in County Clare, and also the telematics device we have as well. Now we have over 800 million kilometres of data on Irish roads, and that collects information such as speeding, acceleration, cornering, braking, and we put all of that information into a driving score, which higher that driving score, then usually the lower propensity of somebody to have an accident, and that's then also related back to someone's probability of having an accident. All of that data is correlated in the background, and that's how we come up with the scores and the frequencies for the various counties.
So we're seeing County Clare is the safest region for drivers on standard policies. Are we able to dig into that any bit, Gary? Do we have any insight into what specifically makes Clare such a safe place?
Well, I think it's very granular in terms of insurance. There is obviously the 26 counties in Ireland, but we've also got we would go down to a much more granular level in that. We would use maybe over 100 different geocodes. So I think it's amazing that Clare does have such a low frequency. It's maybe just the fact that the drivers are there are more careful. There's lots of other factors. Maybe the roads are better over there. The roads are maybe quieter. So there's lots of other factors which are taken into consideration as well. So there's things outside, of course, insurance. But yes, as I say, in terms of how the roads are designed, traffic frequencies, lots of things like that would have a bearing.
And when it comes to having a lower claim frequency, is that a fairly accurate indicator of safety? Could you have situations where a lower claim frequency doesn't necessarily translate to fewer accidents?
Yeah, well, the claims frequency is what drives it, because that's obviously the number of accidents that have actually happened. Now, I suppose what happens there is that it's the cost of the accidents then as well. So yes, you may have quite a low claims frequency, but the cost of settling those claims can be higher. And in rural areas, that does actually tend to be the case because roads being quieter, people tend to drive a little bit faster sometimes, so the accidents tend to be of a much more severe nature. So even though the claims frequency and the number of people having accidents is actually lower, in many cases, sometimes those accidents unfortunately do cost an awful lot more money because of the severity sometimes of some of the accidents. If you're in a built-up area, for instance, in cities, there's lots and lots of cars. You can't go very, very fast, and as a result, the accidents tend to be maybe rear-ending a car, not hitting it too hard, and an awful lot more smaller accidents that don't cause as much money.
And do we know if that's the case for our own county here? Like, while we're seeing a lower frequency of claims, is the average cost of a claim significant?
No, in Clare, we're not seeing anything worse than what we would see anywhere else, and it's definitely in line. The overall loss ratio, which is when you take into consideration the frequency, of course, of accidents and what is actually paid out, Clare is still very representative and very, very near the top.
Just looking at the national picture, obviously the frequency in Clare was below the national average. The national was, I believe, around 5%. Is that positive? How does it compare to other years? And is there any cause for concern in what you've uncovered?
No, that frequency we feel is good. It's probably in line with what we've seen in previous years. We have seen a spike in accidents, unfortunately, during the winter. There's been a few fatalities and things, which is awful. But in terms of the overall frequency of accidents, it tends to be quite stable. We're just seeing some more severe accidents, but in terms of the overall frequency, as I say, it's fairly stable. What's amazing is that the telematics frequency coming down to very close to the overall frequency for standards is a great result, because the telematics policy does tend to be targeted at younger drivers. So the fact that telematics frequency is coming down to very close to the standard is a great result. And when we started the telematics, that figure was close to 13 to 15%. So that's a great result, and that's obviously going to save a lot of lives.